All right. Ooh, we're going to come up in five. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Santita Jackson Show here on AM 950 Radio, the voice of progressive Minnesota. It is a joy to be with you today, always. May God bless you real good. Everybody, reach out to me on the social media platforms. I'm now on Upscrolled. A lot of things are happening on TikTok. So you can reach me on Upscrolled. I'm joining the migration over there. Just look up Santita Jackson, like you can find me at Santita J on X and Santita Jackson and friends on Facebook, the Santita Jackson Show YouTube channel. Hey, Bernadette, how you doing, sweetie? All my morning stars are joining me this morning. Please like and share, like and share, like and share, like and share. Instagram, Santita Jackson, IG, all of these platforms you can find me. But now I am on Upscrolled as you can reach me on Blue Sky. Santita Jackson, my full name. How many of you have been watching the Olympics? Well, the opening ceremony is just an incredible spectacle. It's called the Parade of Nations, and so we get a chance to see. Really, we only see twice, and really, this is the time where we see all of the team members roll out. Because by the time the Olympics are over, sometimes after the competition is done, you know, teams go home, team members go home. But the Parade of Nations is just that. It's the opening ceremony, and you get a chance to see everybody. Typically, you're displaying the fashion, and the pride of a nation. And so, although Haiti has two members, I mean, Haiti is a very, very warm country. And so, of course, we saw from Cool Runnings when we saw the Jamaican bobsled team, we can do anything, but there are only two members there, but they are still part of the Winter Olympics. And so, Stella Jean, who is a Haitian designer, Italian Haitian, but mother's Italian, father Haitian, and she has pride in her country. And so she put probably the principal leader of the Haitian Revolution, the revolution that gave us the first Black republic in the Western world, the country that really ended slavery. It dismantled slavery in this hemisphere. Well, uh, she, of course, put him on his horse because he is such a symbol of pride. He is, I would say, you would liken him to George Washington in the United States. Whatever the issues are, he is acknowledged as the father of the country. Well, the International Olympic Committee said no, he cannot be on the uniform, and it is a spectacular uniform. They're just gorgeous. They need to be on the runway, the great runways in Africa and in Europe when they have their fashion weeks. So, what happened, and what does this mean? What are the broader, deeper political implications? Well, I have someone who is going to talk with us about it. James Early will be with us a little bit later, but there is a brilliant, brilliant talk show, Konbit Lakai, on WPFW, which is on the which is on the Pacifica Radio Network. They're based in Washington, but Pacifica is all over the country. At 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every Wednesday, you can meet with Eugenia Charles, who's a brilliant Haitian activist, Haitian American activist, who is going to explain this to us. She has a tremendous show. I hope that you will support it. Konbit Lakai on WPFW every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, and of course 4 p.m. Pacific Time. Welcome to the show, Miss Eugenia.
Good morning, Miss Santita. It's a pleasure to be with you, and thank you for bringing this issue to the forefront. Thank you for what you are doing, and greetings to your father and the rest of the family as well.
Thank you. Thank you. And my love to you and your family. I know you've got to run to get your kids to school today.
But
That-
we women, we do what we gotta do. And when
Juggle,
it's come
juggle,
to
juggle.
Haiti,
So this is why we're
yes,
doing it at this
indeed.
time. And that's why I said, well, I said, look, if I got to grab you at this hour, I don't mind that. You said, really? I said, well, I'm up anyway. And so, but I'm very excited because I bumped into this on Twitter. This is not something
Mm-hmm.
NBC covered, which, and of course, they are the American home network for the Olympics. I didn't see it on CNN. I didn't see it on MS Now. I didn't see it on Fox. I didn't see it on Newsmax. I didn't see it anywhere. Now it's beginning to bubble up a little bit, but I said,
Yeah,
wait a
yes,
minute. I was so
definitely.
disturbed by it. Please explain to me what happened here.
You know, the thing is, I think the first thing we need to remember, Haiti, many people, countries around the world continues to see Haiti as a taboo. Um, and no matter what people or leaders are doing to try to put Haiti down, Haiti will always rise.
Mhm.
I say Haiti is a beacon of life. Today we talk about democracy, we talk about human rights. All of those things started with Haiti. Toussaint Louverture, of course, in speaking about the images, they don't want to show the Olympics as it is a political statement. Toussaint Louverture is one of our precursor. Toussaint Louverture gave Saint Domingue the first independence in 1801,
Mhm.
and he prepared the stage. Everybody knows Toussaint Louverture to be the great diplomat. He talks with all kind of country, prepared the stage for us to become an independent station. He made all the strategic move prior to his capture by the French. Toussaint Louverture was taken out of Saint Domingue in 1802. He died in Fort de Joux in France in April 1803, but his name continued to rise through because the work that needed to be done for Saint Domingue to become an independent Haiti was already properly established. He had all the pieces of the puzzle. From a spirituality perspective, we look at Toussaint Louverture as being the Legba or Eshu of the Haitian independence because he is the gatekeeper. He opens the door to what must become. Each one of the spiritual deities have a specific role to play. So Toussaint opened the gate for Dessalines to come forward and provide Haiti's independence. And to us, within the Haitian spirituality, Dessalines represent Ogu, the god of war. So
Mhm.
yes, Haiti is still seen as this place now that we have all of these negative issues going on with gangs in the country. Nobody wants to be associated with Haiti. But we have to go back and remember, in speaking with Italy, remember when Ethiopia was fighting with Italy, Haiti provided financial assistance
Mhm.
to Ethiopia to help fight and won that battle. So at the time, Benito de Sylvain was Haiti's ambassador and representative in Ethiopia. So we have our role when nobody else was helping to promote democracy across the globe, which is not really democracy, it's colonial
Yes.
democracy that they are promoting across the globe. So Haiti was doing it not to colonize nation, but to literally help free nations. So Haiti is still seen as this place. If we allow Haiti to fully become a great nation, then it will be not only a symbol for Haiti, but it will be a symbol for all Black people across the globe. When nobody else thought about, freedom, removing the shackle from our mind, from our feet, Toussaint Louverture and his army did that in Saint Domingue. Toussaint Louverture wrote the first constitution in 1801. And one of the articles in that constitution that continues to remain to be troublesome to the imperialist world is that no one outside Haitians should be allowed to purchase lands in Haiti. That
Mhm.
particular line from the 1801 constitutions, which was then Saint Domingue, is still very much relevant to us today. And one of the reasons that we have a lot of trouble with the folks from the international community who wants to purchase lands in Haiti and acquire access to our natural resources on the
Mhm.
ground. So, it is true that the international committee in the Olympic makes that decision. But Stella, She is a wonderful designer. She
Mhm.
finds ways to work around it. The horse was still there. Whether or not Toussaint Louverture's image show up on
Mhm.
the costume, but the message was clear. And I am certain the spirits of Toussaint Louverture was right there with those
Mhm.
members who represented Haiti at the Olympics. I think you can try to take Haiti down in some way, but we will rise. Because
Mhm.
remember when they took Toussaint Louverture out of Saint Domingue, he said, in overthrowing me, you have chopped down the tree of freedom, but it will rise again because it is strong and numerous. So every time you chop a branch down, thinking that you're going to take us down, we're going to rise on the other end because we are strong and numerous. And that's exactly what Stella did.
Well, I just think that it's important for us to amplify this story because the International Olympic Committee talked about neutrality and the politicization of the Olympics. And this is really a reaction to John Carlos and Tommy Smith, from 1968 and the Black Power salute. And so they came up with this, I think it's uh, Rule 50, in which, those kinds of demonstrations would be banned. But on a deeper level, Eugenia Charles, and everyone, I encourage you to watch her, to listen to her show on WPFW every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. On a deeper level, Haiti is a great nation. There is just an imperial plan to keep it disempowered, to keep them from having access to their riches. Right? It's already great. It's you. If Louverture lifted up imperialism, he'd be a hero here. But because he stood for freedom, that's the rub. Because I do think, while I saw the horse and the March of Freedom continues, and I saw her protest, I could only think of, in her brilliant creative mind, trying to figure out a way to keep him in the picture. That having been said, I said, now this is interesting. They still want to box him out. That because
Because,
because images really do matter. You know,
yes, indeed.
to see this black man on their beautiful costumes would have prompted a lot of discussion, Eugenia.
It would have. And I think at this stage where we are today, it still shows that there is a lot that is being done to keep Haiti down. Because an image of Toussaint Louverture shows that the Olympic neutrality. There is no neutrality. We all know that each country comes to represent themselves and they showcase that particular aspect through sports. Sport is politics. You do politics in everyday life. You negotiate with your family. You go grocery shopping. You negotiate. You go picking your groceries. It is a negotiation. Am I going to pick this or that? So politics is everywhere. So even the people who are part of the committee, they are doing politics as well. So I don't think it's neutral. All of the sport, it's a competition. People are fighting for what is they can show the best qualities coming out of their country. So the costume themselves, it is a competition. The best design wins. So that is also politics. So
Mhm.
having the face of Toussaint Louverture would have showed the greatness that being the diplomat that he is. Diplomat, it's about negotiation, and the Olympics represent that, where all people gathers together. So that would have fitted properly, giving the place for Haiti to showcase what it represents in the past and should be today.
You
It
know,
is
it's
unfortunate. Go
well,
ahead.
no, 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 because it's the no one wants to. Everyone wants to talk about Dr. King's The Dream in his 1963 August speech at the March for Freedom and Justice and Jobs. But no one wants to talk about his opening, which was absolute protest, in which um, he delivered a stinging, damning indictment of America's failed promises to Black America. He said, I refuse to believe that this check that I brought to you you've bounced it. Don't tell me that the vault of opportunity. And so, we want to, if they could water him down, I know that they would, because they've tried to do that to Dr. King. They try to do that to all of these people who are freedom fighters, right?
Most definitely. And then I'm glad you brought that point up. And I was about to highlight that. Within the Haitian revolutions, a lot of the neutral individuals and neutral mainstream media, when they talk about Haiti's independence, they often showcase Toussaint Louverture. But what people are not realizing that if you looking at the historical context, Toussaint Louverture was taken out of Haiti in 1802. He dies in 1803 in April. Haiti became an independent nation after the Battle of Vertières, which took place on November 18, 1803. Toussaint was long gone.
Mm-hmm.
So the independence of Haiti was Jean-Jacques Dessalines.
Mm-hmm.
On January 1st, 1804, the man who stood in Gonaives and declared Haiti an independent nation, because remember, during the time of Toussaint Louverture, Haiti was called Saint-Domingue.
Yeah.
So on January 1st, 1804, we became Haiti under the leadership of Jean-Jacques Dessalines. And that's the man who said Haiti will be a safe haven
Mm-hmm.
for anybody who was enslaved in another part of the world. They could come to Haiti and be free men and free women, making that same connection to the beginning part of the speech from MLK. They
Mm-hmm.
don't want to see that greatness. They
Mm-hmm.
don't want to showcase that type of example. So in a lot of writings, when they talk about Haiti's independence, they say Toussaint Louverture helped freed Haiti. Toussaint Louverture freed Saint-Domingue. The
Mm-hmm.
person who freed Haiti is Jean-Jacques Dessalines.
Mm-hmm.
So that's important for your listeners to make a note of.
Absolutely. But the people who strike that blow, it's like uh, Frederick Douglass. He had everything that it took to be president of the United States, but he didn't get there. Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, Reverend Jackson. When we see Obama and Kamala Harris, to an extent, because they're not progressives per se, but to break the color barrier in the United States, to crack that is very, very, yeah, that's
Very
massive.
difficult.
But other
It,
people did it. You see what I mean? They
yeah,
actually walked through the door. Other people knocked down the door, and they held it open. Built the foundation.
yeah,
I mean, and
most definitely.
and that does not, shade anyone, right? I'm just saying that, you know, it's amazing how the European, because this is still a European run body, they don't want to talk about Black freedom fighters who want Black people to be free.
They don't want that. And it takes Martin Luther King, it took Malcolm X to break down
Hmm.
those walls for these other people to be able to come through, because
Hmm.
without the works of Malcolm X, without the works of MLK, we would not be where we are today. And the movement has a lot more work to do to maintain that
Hmm.
message, to maintain that cohesiveness, for us to raise our race out of the predicament that we are in.
Hmm.
A lot of the issues that MLK was fighting against, we are dealing with them today. Look at what's happening in these United States of
Hmm.
America. The promises that are made, we're going to make America great again. And look at the level of fear that has been placed on our community,
Hmm.
particularly the migrant community, especially the Haitian communities,
Hmm.
by every way that they are trying to make them go back to Haiti. And we look at the situations the Haitians are dealing with on the ground, which is the making and the of the imperialist individuals. Their policies put Haiti in this current state of
Hmm.
mind. They don't want to showcase people who have been example, because they don't want other part of the world who have black and brown people to use that as example. So we have to continue to the fight, to carry on our message, to elevate our leaders, to elevate our
Mhm.
children, to set great example. Because I always said freedom is something that you fight and you take. And that's the legacy Toussaint Louverture left for the Haitians. That is the legacy that Jean-Jacques Dessalines left for the Haitians.
Mhm.
Just like Malcolm X said, you have to fight to become self sufficient. MLK said, you have to fight for us to be at the table
Mhm.
so we can all sit and eat and talk together. We need to carry on that message. We should not depend on this individual to make space for us. We have to fight the war to be put ourselves at the table.
So, what can we do because I think that what can we do in terms of furthering this discussion about what happened at the Olympics? Because now the whole story of the Olympics is we're seeing a lot of censorship. Eugenia, the vice president of the United States and his wife went there to represent the country, our country, and they were booed. When the Israeli team came in, they were booed almost out of the stadium. The American team met some boos. Uh, there are protests. I mean, there are many massive protests against ICE because ICE is being used as a protective force, I guess, in uh, at the Olympics, and the Italians do not want them there. You've got Hunter Hess and other Olympians who are speaking out against the administration. Um, wow, and no one, and this is something that we're not having a full discussion about. And I certainly think that we should have. I mean, and to me, the Haitian
Yeah,
discussion is one that belongs to all of us. All of these discussions belong
definitely.
here.
We need to insert ourselves into this discussion, and the Olympic is going to be over soon, so we have time to continue the discussion and ensure that in the future Olympics that there is a different aspect way for them to look at there if the policies need to be changed. And we know it takes a lot of advocacy works to get that done, and that's going to get done through dialogues. And in terms of the US team and vice president being booed, the US does not represent what currently does not represent to the outside world what it used to represent in the past. A lot of people, diplomacy is worked through communication and people traveling to each other's country. That particular scenario is changing for the United States. So I mean, it's not just the Olympic. We have the World Cup that's supposed to be coming to the United States this summer. A lot of people are in fear, and a lot of people who purchased tickets already canceled their tickets
Hmm.
because they don't want to deal with ICE. And the way I know in Haiti, we just passed February 7th, which marked 40 years since the falls of Baby Duck in Haiti. We talk about dictatorship. We talk about censorship. What we are seeing in the United States right now are the same type of policies that the US international democratic bodies used to go preach to other nations. You got to allow folks in the press to
Hmm.
voice their opinions. You got to allow people to walk freely. But here we are currently seeing censorship. You know, the thing is, we always had censorship in America, I should say.
Hmm.
It
Always.
just wasn't.
And now, guess what? We have our own Tonton Makut. and
Exactly.
and they were not just ICE. You had the Red Squad. That was a segment of the police that killed Fred Hampton. You know,
Exactly. So
we've had some things going on here.
we we always have these things here in the United States. It's just nowadays it becomes a whole lot more apparent. It's more visible, and it's affecting more people. It's affecting more community, and a lot of local folks and people's pockets are being impacted by it. And I think that's what making the major difference, because when you go to the grocery store now,
Mhm.
the fruits that we are buying at the grocery store, the immigrants that are being deported were the one who are being, harvesting and planting those fruits. Whether
Mm.
it's the milk that you are purchasing to have your cereal in the morning, it was the immigrants working to assist that. So with the pocket being touched, then a lot more people are talking about it. And so people outside the United States are saying, you know what? Democracy that you've been preaching to the wall is not that great of a democracy, and you are showing your true colors right now, and people are seeing it for what it is. But those
Well,
of us who are in the movements,
mhm.
we know it's been there all along.
Well, I mean, the whole discussion about democracy, really, it's a republic that has democratic features. The founding fathers were afraid of a democracy because they called it mobocracy. They felt that it would lead to mob rule. So they put breaks in place that said, no, we're going to have democratic elements, but, uh, we've got to keep some controls here. And that's why the ruling class has always had the upper hand, if you will. And so, but the people ultimately do rule here, and that's what makes America democratic, But we can see that. Do you know what I think? What is always a little, I think what's unsettling to people is to see the politics in sport. When you see that it's not completely fair, Eugenia. My father was uh, he was a Division 1 uh, football player in his first year in college. He played at the University of Illinois, and he had a horrific experience there. And then he went to North Carolina A&T, where he flourished. And he said, but what you love about sports is that the the playing field is even, the goals are clear, and so a win you celebrate, but but a loss you can handle, because at the end of the day you're like, well, you know what, you win a few, you lose a few, but at least it's fair. No one likes to feel cheated. And I have to tell you, um I really I called around when I bumped into this story on Twitter, and there were some people who said, they kind of shrugged their shoulders. I said, how can you not be insulted by this? This is an affront to all of us everywhere. Just wait a minute. Do you see what they've done? I mean, I, I would, because I said, these people, if Louverture had been an imperialist, if he had fought for the French, if he had made his argument for imperialism, I don't care how they dressed it up, he would be a hero. But somehow or another,
Most
people,
definitely.
people who are the freedom fighters, we pick at them. We're still debating Dr. King. We're still debating Jesus. Jesus was a political figure who was a freedom fighter. And so they've tried to refashion him um, to make him comfortable to Rome. But no, that's not who he was. And how the seat of his church can be there, I've always had to figure that out, because I'm like, wait a minute, Jesus was down here on the ground with the people. And and I think it should be Haiti's call who they want to have on their uniform. Really, because that tells the Haitian story.
I agree. I think the fact, and I think that's what Stella Jean was trying to do with putting the image of Toussaint Louverture on the picture, and the artist who did this brilliant piece of work. The thing is, sport is a representations of what each country is able to do and show their capacity. Going on the field and perform, the best person win by showing their strength, and it's their lucky day, they make it through. But the culture, the people who are playing the sport, they come to play the sport, they also carry the nation's flag with them, and that's culture is also come with them. So to be able to show the sport the individuals who are playing the sport to show their culture and exhibit it for other people to see. That should be a normal things to do at the Olympic. There was no particular message that was in a negative connotations to any other nations. The image of Toussaint Louverture would have shown this man represented diplomacy. This man represented um, the fight that it took for Black nations to be liberated. We are in February. We are looking at History Month.
Mhm.
So Haiti is the precursor to a lot of the things that we are doing. Had Haiti not been independent, the United States will not be able to have the Louisiana Purchase.
Mhm.
You understand? So the sport being able to showcase Toussaint is a vital part in the Haitian revolutions, and being able to showcase his image at the sport, letting people know that his spirit, his energy is still alive, and we need to nurture that so other freedom fighter will have their proper place in the sport as well.
But maybe that's the
Because we
ultimate
had a
point.
lot of
They don't want people to fight for freedom. They want them to fight for empire.
But see, Haiti, it was not about fighting for the empire. And that's
Oh
the thing
yeah.
Haiti continued to represent. And that's why they try to belittle Haiti as every time they get an opportunity. We
Mhm.
fought to let the rest of the world know that you don't have to be in shackle. You can be
Mhm.
treated as human, and you don't have to be somebody's property. That's what Haiti represent. And that's the message they're trying to tell us right now. We want you
I,
to just continue to work to be slave.
that's right.
Bring
I
money
guess
to our table.
that's right because I think that's the point. If Haiti would bow, Haiti would be all right. But because Haiti
And
has
we will
had
not bow.
that's right. And I see that with I mean, because I see them. I see that with all the freedom fighters, and I think that's why I saw them do that with Castro and others. I saw them do that with Chavez. I mean, really, with
Yes.
Maurice Bishop in Grenada. I can just keep on going down the line. If you will bow to empire, well, that's okay. But if you decide that people should be
We,
free, everyone should have equal access to equal high quality education, food, you should own your land, you should be a sovereign country, all of that. That is the problem. And so that helps me to look, I think it helps us to look at the International Olympic Committee and the Olympics much more clearly. That this isn't.
we most definitely we have a lot of our people participating in the Olympic. And I
Mhm.
think a lot of time people say, well, if it doesn't concern me, I don't have to say anything about it. And that's probably why when you ask other people, they just shrug their shoulders and let it pass because it doesn't concern them. But it's start with Haiti. There's nothing to say tomorrow is not going to be their turn. So when you see those kind of injustice, stand for it. Stand up and say something. Don't just shrug your shoulder and pass and let it go. Because another country may present tomorrow with something else. They're going to pass it. You say, well, when it happened to Haiti, nobody said nothing. It's not my business. We are a human race. What happened in one place is going to impact us in one way, shape, or form. So when Haiti fought to be liberated, it wasn't just liberations for Haitians. It was liberations for the Black race. It was letting
Mhm.
people in our brothers and sisters in Africa know we need to stop slavery. It was letting our brothers and sisters know here in the United States we need to end the shackle. We can be free. We are important. We can do better. We can govern ourselves. We don't have to be in shackle. We don't have to let other people do for us. We can do for ourselves. We can do business, we can play sport, and we can win just like them. We can build our own economy. So I'll say to everybody who saw that and didn't say something, this is the time to speak. And I will bring it back again to what's happening here in the United States. Make America great again. We're not seeing that greatness because many of us didn't say something. Now we are being impacted by it. So when you see an injustice, say something.
Mm-hmm.
And then we need to stop it. And so I think as we continue the conversation, we need to start looking at the policies. We need to talk to the people at the Olympic and let them know that people should be able to express their cultures.
Absolutely. I mean, our cultures and, freedom fighting should not be a dirty word, right?
Not at all.
And I think we need to understand the politics of sport, the politics of it, because Carlos and Smith, they sacrificed everything and they knew they were doing that. They knew it. And yet they were willing to do that, to take that stand in that moment, in that on that hot August night in Mexico City in 1968. This was just what, 3 or 4 months after Dr. King had been killed.
Hmm.
America was on
Hmm.
fire. They said, all is not well. And I'm not going to say that all is well.
Exactly.
And they paid the ultimate price. And we've seen some people. Kurt Flood paid the price to make people free in baseball, to end the slavery system in baseball. He didn't benefit from it, but you know what? That was okay. He was a freedom fighter. I mean, and there are some people who pay the price, and I just want to see them celebrated. I really do. I want to see them. I want to see them honored. I want to see them honored, and
So
that's and
it
that's
is
why.
unclear.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's why. I mean, that's why I reached out, because I even went to some Haitian Americans
No, I agree.
who shrugged their shoulders, and I was like, "What? Am I the only one who's upset here? I, wait a
No,
minute."
you're not the only one. You're not the only one. Every one of us I mean, to those of us who are in the movement to understand what that means, we say, you know what? What's new? We've seen this before, and we can fight this. We can get past this. But freedom fighters, our freedom fighters, those men and women who stood before, who went through the difficult challenges to pave way for us to be able to sit behind a mic and have a conversations, to be at the spot represented. We have to honor these individuals and carry on their legacy. And the way we can do that through a place like the Olympic is through the art, is to showing their images through in their costume. So that's kind of expression we need to stand up and ensure that we are able to continue to showcase that, because we need to maintain that legacy so our children can know that somebody did something, that what they are able to go out and do things because someone else fought for it. So those messages, those name has to be acknowledged. They have to be shown. And at the Olympic, to the costume, that's how we can do it. So we have a responsibility to ensure that we talk to these people and let them know that they need to change their policies. So having an image of a freedom fighter on a costume, it's not that bad. It is simply showcasing that culture and the people who fought for that nations to be what it is.
Well, perhaps what we need to have Miss Jean do is make a poster of her original idea so that everyone can purchase it. Because I certainly
That's
would. I
excellent.
would frame it and put it on my wall, because I think it's important for us, because this is important for me, but it's important for the children. And I mean,
Yes, indeed.
all children, all I mean, I remember my parents taking me to the uh, to the polls as a little girl. I didn't realize. I can look back. I can look back now and see just how important it was, because we were not in school on that day. We didn't go to school. My brother, Congressman Jonathan Jackson, my brother Johnny, said, it's amazing. We never went to school January 15th. Never, ever, ever. For us, it was always a holiday. And it wasn't a holiday where you slept late. We had a service where we commemorated and celebrated the life of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King. I mean, there were just things that we did. My mother had an exhibition at our Black Expo, which was the largest Black event in the world at that time. 1 million people came. The whole Expo movement was started. It was something that Reverend created. And she did the cultural exposition in 1972, Eugenia. And one of the figures she highlighted was Louverture. And his bust was in the middle of our living room all of our life. So I'm so glad that we got that sensibility and that sensitivity, that understanding. Um, because if you don't have it, the Bible tells you to remove not the ancient landmark which thy fathers and mothers have said. We've got to tell that story because it's like Dr. King doesn't just belong to the United States. He belongs to the world. Gandhi belongs to the world. Uh, Louverture and Dessalines, they
Yes,
belong to
indeed.
the world. I mean, if you want freedom, you've got to know Medgar Evers. You've got to know him.
Yes,
You know,
yes, yes,
you,
yes.
they
And,
shot
and
this
you,
man in front of his wife and children while he was fighting for the vote. You got to know him. You
Mhm.
got to know these people.
You
Oh,
have to. And you know the thing is, Toussaint Louverture and Dessalines, they paved the way for Medgar Evers. They
yes.
set up the stage for MLK. They set up the stage for Malcolm X to know that you can do it. So we have to talk about them. We have to showcase their images so the generations that we have present day and those to come will continue to harness that positive energy and carry on that fight.
Well, that's why I felt that, it was to me, my parents, it came to me yesterday. My parents used to always tell us about having an insult level, an insult level. I don't know why that came to me, but maybe this was it. Because for me, this was the insult level. I said, there have got to be things, Eugenia, that profoundly offend you. And
Most definitely.
I am tired of having people try to tell me who my heroes should be. I don't, I'm just, that's,
I agree. We should have our children learn about our heroes so they can find themselves. They can learn about everybody else, but they need to know the folks who are the cornerstone, the pillars of our upbringing, of what make us who we are, the people who fought and gave their lives so we can walk, so we can speak, so we can sit in that bus, so we can be at the school and use the same restrooms. They need to know these individuals. And whether it is to images, when we are looking at the books that we are being told that should not be read or teach at
mm,
our school currently here in these United States, that is again removing our histories from the classroom, from the libraries. We need to push for these informations to be available to our children. And we need to push for our heroes to be at the forefront so everybody can learn about it.
before you go, I could keep you forever. I want you to know what should you, but I'm sensitive to the fact that you got to get your children off, get your family off, and get them going in the morning. I understand that. Um, what do you want us to know about these two great figures? And there were many who supported them, nameless, faceless people who lost their lives in that revolution and who continue to lose their lives today. I remember Father Jean Just used to stay with us, and others.
Yes.
Oh, look, all of the rebels stayed in my parents' house. So, when,
Oh, no.
yes, 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 yes. Um, and I mean, and just oh my gosh, there were so many. There have been so many freedom fighters. What do you want us to know
Freedom
about
fighters.
this
I,
moment?
I
Why
think
shouldn't
before I
why
go,
shouldn't
I will let you know. People
why
think of
shouldn't we
two.
shrug our shoulders? Why should this matter?
Yes. People should not. It should matters because by not saying something today, it will be your child or your grandchild the next day, and nobody else will be standing. It is an injustice. We should stand and speak to it so it doesn't happen to another country. When you think of Toussaint Louverture, think about the door being open for Black men and women to fight for freedom. When you think about Toussaint Louverture, think about the man who hold his sword and said, no more, I'm going to fight so no Black man, no Black woman will be put in shackles. We will build a nation where we can govern ourselves, be free, walk free, and hold our head up high. That's what you need to think of. And I know I spent the time talking about all the men's and the Haitian revolutions, but within the Haitian revolutions, we had great women's.
Mm.
Abdaraya Toyamantu, she was the person who to fight. We had Marie-Jeanne. We talk about spies in the United States. Marie-Jeanne was the greatest spy ever. She led the spy movement for the Haitian revolutions. And just think about these people, the work that they did. So when you see something that goes wrong, when you see an injustice, stand up, say something, talk about it, and preach your kids to stand up for the right things and honor our own heroes who've paved the way for us. It's been a pleasure to be with you this morning, Miss Santita. We can continue
Oh,
this conversation another
I will
time.
have I will have you back on because I think it's important that people know who you are. It's important to amplify your voice. We don't need to just talk about Haiti. We need to talk about we need to speak with our Haitian sisters and brothers. And I want people to listen to your show and to become a part of your radio show family. That is Konbit Lakai on WPFW every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Don't miss the show.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. You have a great day.
Eugenia Charles, sending you so much love. It has been a joy speaking with you today.
You too, darling.
God bless you. My love to your family. The beautiful children I see on your icon. That's just wonderful. Everybody, think about this. We have to have an insult level. When I heard about this story, about the removal of Toussaint Louverture, his image while he's riding on his horse into battle, I saw it on Twitter. I did not see it on NBC, which is carrying the Olympics. No, I did not see it on MS Now, which is progressive. That's what we've been told. And CNN. I didn't see it on Fox. I didn't see it on Newsmax. From the right, left, and the center, didn't find this anywhere. And we should have. We should have seen this story because it does matter. Make no mistake, politics is a part of sport. I have a very dear friend who shall remain nameless who played professional football. I've had any number of friends who've played professional sport, but a couple of these guys played professional football, and they each told me separately, the best person doesn't always get on the field. Like the smartest kids don't get into the top schools. Be very clear. The legacy clauses at the in the Ivy League mean a whole lot. And at least 40% of the students who are admitted to the Ivies, to Harvard and Yale and Princeton, et cetera, their parents went there. No matter what their grades look like, it's their parents who got them in. They take the gap year, get themselves together, whatever's been going on in their lives, and a lot of things can go on in a lot of folks' lives. And then they are accepted into the school, and then they get the cachet of Harvard and Yale, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And they are able to build these magnificent lives. And you assume that because they went to these schools that they're smarter than you. You assume that everyone you see on television, that you hear about in the radio, presented to you by corporate media, that they're your heroes. Be careful with that. Because remember, The oligarchs or the powerful present the weak to you. The people send the strong. Remember who they present to you to lead you. They're the weak. They're the vulnerable. They're the ones that they have something on. We send the strong. They might be human and have their challenges, but they're the ones who came up the rough side of the mountain and who are in it for the fight. They're in it to win it. Think about that. So it means a whole lot that the International Olympic Committee, that's supposed to be fair, that's supposed to be unbiased, and we know that they're not. First of all, you have to have a lot of money to even train to be an Olympian. Uh, so much of you've got a lot of brilliant athletes who never even get in because a coach may or may not like them. They might not get the scholarship, on and on and on. Like the best players don't get onto the basketball court, the football field. Think about that. But your politics really do matter. And we can see that in this instance. Oh, and Mr. Smith and Mr. Carlos stood on that stage in the summer of 1968 in Mexico City at the Olympics. They knew that they were risking it all, and they were willing to do it, and they did. Not only did they not get endorsement deals, not only did they miss out on those, they were absolutely attacked and assailed throughout their lives. They've never been hailed as heroes. They were heretics. So it is our job to lift them up. It is our job to lift up Toussaint Louverture. It is our job to call NBC, who is the host station, the American host station for the United States, to ask, well, what about this story? I think you need to talk about it. Because they're now talking about the athletes who are protesting this present administration and the things that are happening in the United States. And I'm glad to see them doing it. And there must be enough of them. There must be a lot of them talking about this. Otherwise, they wouldn't pay attention to this story. But some of these young people have had the courage to take the mic and say they don't like what's happening in America. And they are feeling awkward. They're feeling a lot of pain about what's going on in our country. And they don't want the world to believe that that is what is in their hearts and that is what they represent. Think about that, everybody. Think about it. Think about it. Think about it. Think about it. So representation does matter. It matters a whole lot. So for the International Olympic Committee to ask Stella Jean, this brilliant artist, to remove his image because of neutrality is a lie. If he was someone who lifted up empire, he would be a hero. But if he's fighting for your freedom, he's a zero. You've got to turn that around. Think about that, everybody. Think about it. Think about who is uplifted in corporate media and think of who is buried. We can hear about Malcolm X now because he's gone. Yeah, that's what we do. We hear about him now. We hear about Dr. King now because he's gone. We really don't hear enough about Medgar Evers because Medgar Evers and Dr. King were fighting for you to have the right to vote. What Malcolm X did was give us our voice. He was not a civil rights leader, but that does not mean that he was not important. He gave us our voice. He helped to give us our sense of somebodyness. He showed us about evolution. He showed us that where we start off is not where we have to end up. Oh, what a powerful story he has. A story for the ages. And thank God he sat with Alex Haley and wrote his book and told his story. So no matter how far you fall, my father said, you know what? The sin is not in falling down, it's in not getting up. That's what Malcolm, that's his gift to us. But getting our civil rights, getting the vote, getting fair housing, getting your jobs, all of that, no. A lot of other people did that. But they wouldn't have any of these people on our uniforms in the United States unless we could whitewash their stories and make them less than who they are. And that ought to insult you. Because if these men and women, if Fannie Lou Hamer, If Constance Baker Motley, if Sojourner Truth and Harriet Tubman are less than who they are, Frederick Douglass is less than who he is, then you won't be free. And that's not just black people, that's everybody. Because America has been about freedom and liberty and justice for all, whether everybody knew it or not. So, long live Toussaint Louverture, long live Mr. Dessalines, long live the Haitian Revolution, long live the American Revolution in the right way. And people need to be allowed to tell their own story. That's it. This has said more about the International Olympic Committee than you can ever imagine. Think about that. So are these Olympics really fair? Are they really neutral? No, they're not. They're not. Think about that, everybody. I am Santita Jackson, AM 950 Radio, the voice of progressive Minnesota, sending you so much love today, right here from the voice of progressive Minnesota.